Welcome to the Unfiltered Path Podcast, where we explore life's journey without the constraints of filters. In a world saturated with highlight reels, we dive deep into the true essence of individual experiences, offering listeners an uncensored glimpse into the triumphs, struggles, and transformative moments that define us. Our mission is to provide hope, inspire resilience, and remind you that every path, no matter how windy or rocky, can lead to growth and enlightenment. Join us as we navigate the uncharted territories of truth and to be moved, be inspired, and discover that you're not alone on this unfiltered journey of life. Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Graham Duval, owner of Valüd Productions. My company provides video marketing strategies to help businesses succeed, and I'm joined by our awesome co-host today.
Hey, good morning, everyone. It's Trinity Baker, the Trinity Baker, and you can find me on all social medias. I am here to spread some positivity for you. I'm your mindset coach, taking people from survival to thrival, and I'm here with my beautiful co-host
and friend, because she helps me a lot. My name is Danielle. I'm the owner of Aerialist. I am an aerialist. That's a fancy term for performing suspended in the air. I'm also an educator, so I teach other people how to do it too. And I am here with our guest.
Good morning, everyone. I'm JJ Holley, the owner and founder of Ripple Retreat, the veteran-owned and operated non-alcohol turnkey retreat center, recovery center, and outdoor event center.
Located in the beautiful mountains of Maine, like such a serene location that an event center, outdoor event center, recovery center, like is just the tip of the iceberg of what JJ has at Ripple Retreat. It's truly like a turnkey, beautiful place to go. So JJ, so excited that you are here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I dated tequila in my 20s. I had to have children to stop. So to have a retreat, for those who have that luxury to like do, that's really cool. Mine was children. I was like, I should stop.
I love the idea. One of the biggest things for me, like when I first got sober, was like, people always thinking like, what is, like, I had such an association of quote unquote fun with drugs and alcohol, and like when I stopped, it was like, well, what is there gonna be? You know what I mean? And like to have an event space where it's like geared towards fun and like doing things clean and sober, no alcohol, that's just super awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, I think so too.
Hey, I think it gives a space for those to still experience the vibe, right, of the concerts that you put on, the events that you put on. I mean, you even like, it's a wedding space, right? So I think it allows, you could do any event, really, any event JJ approves of, his business for him. But in the safe space of saying, I want to have that same fun, that same vibe, but without the toxic environment of it, right?
Exactly.
I think it's beautiful. And your mission is really impactful because of your history and in your recovery and everything that you've been through. Share with us a little bit about where did the inspiration for Ripple Retreat come from?
Well, Ripple Retreat, the inspiration came from my life experience. I spent 27 years in the military. I served 3 combat tours in Iraq. Came close to death 4 times in Iraq. And my best friend that I made on my first tour there, he 2 days after I got home was killed by an IED. And he is my Ripple. He impacted me in such a way that he is on the forefront of my mind every day. What am I doing with my life? I have since retired, and I've been able to tour the world. I backpacked the world for 8 months. I've lived in 34 places in the world. And once you retire and you're like, okay, what is my purpose? I served in the military. And service before self was one of my core values and still is. And now I'm like, what can I do to help serve my nation, but on a smaller scale? So I thought, why not? Well, this journey happened when my husky and I jumped in my RV and started driving around North America. And I looked at her one day and I said, hey, let's go to Maine. I've never been there before. So 2.5 years ago, in September of 2021, I drove into Maine and I found this house for sale, this ranch, bought it, following my instinct, following my intuition of the universe, bought this and just scared to death. What the heck am I getting into? Because this place is huge and it's just me. But once I bought it, it came to me. This I can share with others, because since I'm retired, everything I get from this point on, I like to pay it forward. So, and I am 5 years sober, and I've learned some things through my trials and tribulations that I would like to share with others and inspire others to, like you say, Graham, the resilience.
Yep.
So I found this this space. It's a safe space. I turned it into a recovery center, a event center. You can have a wedding there. And the neat thing about my business model is once I start making profit, because it is a work in progress, I'm going to be giving 75% of that profit to my town of West Paris, Maine, and local charities. My first charity that I'm going to be giving to is the Pink Feather Foundation. If you don't know anything about them, Google them. They're amazing. Pink Feather Foundation in Norway, Maine. And I also vow, once I get up and running fully, to help one homeless family help themselves off the street a year. So I believe we all put out a vibration, leaving ripples in other people's lives. And Ripple Retreat is a business I wanted to create to be able to create positive ripples in other people's lives, not only in the people who have events there, but in my community as well.
Most definitely. Yeah. I love that concept. The ripple, I see that all day long, all the time. And like, I didn't know about it. I didn't know about it till like 6 years ago. And it was brought to my attention. It's like the similar concept, and just like seeing that all play out in life and like how things happen. And like, even Trinity, before the podcast, you were talking about synchronicities and how they're weird sometimes. You know what I mean? They're there, and they're those ripples that happen, but like sometimes it is weird. It's like, wow, like what? And when you have that realization, it's super cool. Super cool.
Absolutely.
It is really amazing. And what I love is that the events that you've had so far, Ripple, do have such a significant ripple in so many ways, right? So your fundraisers, they raise money. But then you look and see, like, what does the ripple of that money do going to the nonprofit or the place that is then helping others, and not just one other, right? Many others. And then you look at the ripple that those people's transformation has from the money that you have raised. And that is just like one way your events have a significant impact. I have had events myself at Ripple Retreat, and I could tell you the huge impact that it's made in those women's lives that have gone there. So it really is just so amazing. And like, I look at this virtual room right now and how every single one of you here has had such a significant ripple in my life in so many ways, for so many years. JJ, you submitted a question to the podcast for us to answer, and then it was like the day before that we invited you on to be a guest. So I think that this is like one of those synchronicities that this question was meant to be here and asked when you were on the podcast, because it's so impactful. There is a ladybug crawling on my mic. So yeah, JJ, your question for us, it was, think of a person who has influenced you in such a way that looking back on it now, you can see how they made a positive ripple in your life, not only changing your life, but the lives that you touch. And we had talked about it doesn't have to be this positive ripple, right? The ripple is positive, but it can be a perceived negative situation that caused the positive ripple. And oftentimes negative situations, perceived negative situations, do cause that ripple. Have you guys ever heard, I'm going to go off topic for 1 second. Have you guys ever heard the story about the farmer? The farmer, I can't remember the full exact story, but it's like the farmer's horse stepped on his son's arm and the neighbors were like, wow, that sucks. And he's like, maybe. The next day, his son was potentially drafted into the war and he couldn't go because of the broken arm, right? And so, like, it shows the ripple of, like, even when we have these perceived negative situations, there's always a positive ripple or 100 from them. So
my dating life is proof.
Yeah. Danielle's dating life is a ripple. Tell us about that, Danielle.
No. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. It's not even that bad. It's just funny because I feel like that's just...
Wait, but when you can look at situations like that, right? You get through them easier. These challenges, you get through them easier when you're like, okay, I know for a fact that there is going to be something positive coming from this, then I'm going to be able to help others see.
Yes.
Most definitely. Yeah.
Something's happening. Just ask yourself the question. Good thing, bad thing, who knows? You don't.
Exactly.
So my major ripple, and I'm just going to go from the beginning because I don't know how to answer this. There's like chapters of the ripple effect in my life, I feel like, so that I think it's a complex answer. But to identify one specific thing for this conversation, I'm going to have to say I had a very different teenage years than the average person. So by then I was in a single mom environment. She's kind of in and out. It's just, it's not a picture perfect kind of scenario. No, and throwing no shade at anybody. It's just what it was. So, we're still happy people, etc. But my grandmother and aunt got cancer at the same time. And so we're talking late 90s, early 2000s chemo. Now, this is a very different experience than what we see now. And my meme got sick too, but she was already just sick. So my aunt went first at 32, and then my grandmother at 54-ish. I might be a little slightly wrong on ages here. And then my meme. So it was like the mother stayed alive long enough for the... Yeah. But it's profound to see that at such a young age.
Absolutely. And I think it's like these situations where it takes that self-awareness and that total concept, like Danielle, you talk about like how we're here as souls, like in bodies. It takes stepping into that to see what you just said. Like that was such a profound experience at such a young age where you could choose. Yeah.
I mean, it's just like you triggered the young age thing. Like I never went to prom. I was taking care of family members. And then my mom turned to drugs to cope with her grieving. So I didn't have my mom's present. And I remember going to New York and just kind of like falling in love for the first time and seeing real like culture and real poverty and just like and stars and celebrities, just seeing the influx of life. And I came back and I went to business school and I put myself through business school, and I was a manager of like 3 cell phone stores. So I turned my trauma into like overachiever, but it's really why I ran away and joined the circus. It's that level of, I call it effort. When you've seen enough pain, you get a higher level of effort. we're going to die anyways, or we're going to XYZ anyways, why not? And so I think that really thick layer of effort made me, I sold everything. I just stopped. I had a 4.0 in business school. I probably stopped because I didn't want to not have a 4.0, but I went to move to Florida. Within 3 months, it was found. And it was because I was just effort. And I believe deeply, I had aligned myself completely. I'd reached that frequency. And I always do, which is crazy. Just in different, variations of self-growth. I'm 38, so there's some chapters. Sorry, I've never cried on the podcast quite like this. I've dropped a tear.
It's beautiful. It's real and it's genuine. Thank you for sharing. Thank you.
Yeah. And that's what we want to bring here, is that unfiltered way of looking at things, right? Because of our past and what we've been through and what all of our listeners have been through, because every single one of us here has been through something, the word trauma. We can have big T and we can have little t. I love Gabby Bernstein. She's a really amazing influencer who talks a lot about trauma and how to move through it. And she talks about big T's and little t's, and she's breaking that concept that trauma means something huge and horrible. And does trauma mean that? Yes. But we also have little traumas. We have little things that stick with us for many years. And I think when we can take the chance to look at it, reflect, really dissect and talk about it in this unfiltered, raw, candid way, that's how we start to process through the things that are holding us back, and that trauma that's holding us back. So now I want to honor you, because that takes a lot of vulnerability, and I'm thrilled and blessed that this is the space that you felt compelled to open up. That is such an honor to us. So I love you.
Yeah, I think it's on the concept that you're talking about, Trinity. I thought I was such a unique, my own selfishness for so long, and then dealing with a lot of stuff, and realizing that realization of there's other people going through all these different things, and the thing that I have going on at this right time, that's just compared to maybe what someone else has already been through, and leaning on these people that I find close to me, because they may have gone through something that's I'm thinking it's this major thing, and they've oh, that was I did that, yesterday in my sleep or whatever. And you know what I mean? And that concept was so eye-opening to me, and life-changing as far as just moving into a better life, surrounding myself with people, and that realizing that people have gone through experiences, and we're all in this together as humans, you know what I mean? And it's such a beautiful thing. So I definitely can relate with all of that.
That's amazing.
There. Let me ask you, what's your ripple?
Yeah, I was contemplating that. There's a couple people, but I think the biggest one for me is my grandfather, which is my dad's dad. He is, or was, his name is my middle name, and growing up, he was also sober for 30 something years while I was in the thick of it. And so I'm very much similar to him, just the way I act, and because it was him, and then it skipped generation with my dad, and then me. And so when I'm going through all this stuff, there was always that thing in him of voice in my head that was always affecting me, whether I was oh, I'm gonna party his whatever, I'm gonna embrace this style, whatever, and all this stuff. But knowing that he had done that was really the light that drew me into being open to change when the time was right. even though
Right.
he had passed away like years before, and like, there was just always that like voice of what he had talked about when I was younger to when I was in the thick of it. And just like, my dad was telling me a story that like he went to him one time while I was like being crazy and like getting in trouble and stuff, and was like, yeah, Graham is getting all into trouble and all this stuff. And he knew, because he'd been in similar situations, is like, yeah, that he's gonna have to figure it out, you know what I mean? And my dad's like, what? And so it's just like that sort of,
He was there to parent your dad, right?
Yeah.
Like, because your dad needed support because you were lost. Like, that is like horrifying for a parent,
exactly. But he had known, because of like the whole stuff that he had gone through, this like there's really not much you can do for someone in that sort of position until they hit that point of like, man, I need to change. And because he was there, I knew that when the time was right, that I could do it. And that changed my life 100%. Like when the universe worked, when I hit my bottom, like all this stuff, because I knew about stuff from him.
Nice.
And so, yeah, so super powerful. Like, I'm just so grateful. But that's probably my major ripple. And like from that, just like, that's why we're on a podcast today. You know what I mean? Like,
And now your ripple is you're hosting this podcast and hopefully touching others and giving them hope and inspiration and for that resilience.
exactly. Oh, it gets me all fired up.
Yes. Oh, it's awesome.
I think
Hold on.
because of that also, though, you were able to really step into your true self, which then is the ripple that you cause with your business, right? Saying that bold statement of like, I wouldn't have this business if I didn't get sober. I can't speak for you, but the impact that you make today certainly would not be the impact that you would not going through that.
Exactly.
Yeah. I love that. That's so amazing.
So cool. Trinity, what's your ripple?
So many people. So many people. I was on Jeff's podcast. So What's Your Ripple is a podcast that JJ has for Ripple Retreat. And I was so honored to be on his podcast. I think it was last week, maybe the week before. And he asked this question too. And it's so hard, right? Because we have so many people. But I really love always highlighting a perceived negative situation, because I think it gives listeners, well, whoever is listening to me, hope that these perceived negative situations really are there for a reason. It takes that cliche of everything happens for a reason and like just magnifies it if you talk about it. And so someone who always said everything happens for a reason, someone who, like, I have a bracelet that she gave me for my 18th birthday. It's my mom. So my mom always talked about everything happens for a reason. So she was that energetic. When she walked in the room, everyone would be like, oh, Mona. And so I always saw that growing up. And so that was her ripple. That was like one of her first ripples to me, was seeing the energy that you can choose to bring to a room, bring to other people's lives. And that's always a choice. Because what I saw back then, I thought was bullshit. But what I saw was that you could go from complete chaos, right? You could go from divorce. You can go from drugs and alcohol abuse. You can go from like a really horrible situation, walk out the door and go still be a positive ripple and energy in the room. And so what that showed me was resilience, right? I personally don't want to go through those challenges and addictions, right? But what it showed me was that no matter the crap, the chaos of life, you always have a choice. And so like when I get that question as a coach, like my inbox gets filled with this question: how do you be happy all the time? Doesn't life happen to you? Life happens to all of us, but it's always a choice. Your ripple is a choice. And that's what she taught me. So she was a significant impact in my life. Like looking back at that, along with so many other things. But she really is the reason that I do what I do, because we lost her at 45 years old. I was 25 years old. So we lost her at 45. And so every day, like you, JJ, with the best friend that you lost, I asked myself, how am I living the life that she couldn't live? How am I living my life for 2, for 3, for 5 people who I know can't live their life, can't continue living their life? And I think it brings the importance of our ripple, even like it makes it even more significant. It makes it even more intertwined.
Absolutely.
And then the amount of obsessive research I've done about cancer puts me in the elite mindsets of health.
Yep.
Some stuff I did in my early 20s can put me in rooms with doctors, nurses, scientists, and I just hold conversations. I have stuff to say. I just know. And it's, and so I just kind of super identify with you about like wanting to shift where that loss kind of was rooted from and kind of help it be a little bit easier for somebody else, or, you know, because I've helped a magnitude of people with health and wellness at this point and received the most generous compliments of appreciation to know that I'm creating a ripple and that I don't have to have a job title to still have an impact in the health and wellness. And it's really rooted in the fact that I had so many family members die from it. So by the time I was 25, the knowledge I had about medicine and foods and lifestyle was just profound. And then you add being an aerialist to it, and then I was just dancing with physics is what I do. So then I just widens the perception of ability. So it's so rooted in what we're talking about today. Like now that we're talking about it, I can really say that that's the core of the information I have inside my brain. It's from that pain.
Yes. Beautiful.
I love that. I love that. I mean, just looking at this room right now, like Graham had the ripple on me as a belief in business and a belief that I could do what I really had a calling to do. And when I feel doubtful about that, he's right there to be like, no, you're on the right track. And he taught me like how to do marketing. Like I'm a nurse. I don't know anything about marketing. Okay. So thank God for Graham's ripple and Danielle, her ripple of Ariel, and teaching me that fitness and movement and exercise can be something enjoyable. And the strength is always within you, and you can use that every day. Every day I think about that. Every day I go to do an exercise move that I can't do, or if I think I can't do. Every time I'm hiking and I'm like almost up to the top and I'm like, wow, this is freaking hard. It reminds me that I can do something really physically hard. And then JJ, you have been such a significant ripple and continue to be. Your ripple with me is not done, and like 100% feel that every time we connect. Your space is a ripple. Your energy is a ripple. The way you look at life, the way you look at the future is a ripple. The way you look at business is a ripple to me too, because you were just doing something so significantly amazing at Ripple Retreat. Tell us about the event in June that you have coming up.
Oh, thank you, Trinity. I appreciate that. June 22nd at Ripple Retreat in West Paris, Maine, I am holding a music fest called Bands for Recovery, Playing for Discovery. I have 6 bands and 2 speakers. I have 2 food trucks that are going to be there. And it's going to be an event for those in recovery and everybody. It's to highlight that recovery is cool, that sobriety is cool. It's to highlight the what's out there for those who are thinking about sobriety and know that there is support out there. And it's also to raise money for Ripple Retreat so that I may finish remodeling a multi-purpose room that I have at Ripple that's going to be for recovery meetings. It's going to be for yoga, massage, and Reiki. And if you've never heard of Reiki, a good friend of mine, Monique Buffard, she has healingpathwaypros.com. She gives Reiki and teaches Reiki and coaching as well. So Ripple Retreat has a vast amount of positive ripples. It's a beautiful space. And the event in June is going to be coming out. I'm going to start selling tickets in April. It's going to be just $25, so fairly inexpensive for a full day of music. It's going to go from 11 in the morning till 10 at night. And so it's going to be a big event there in West Paris. And then in July or August, I haven't set a date yet, I'm going to be holding a day for parents with children that have autism. So it's going to be a fun-filled day for the autistic children to come and play and relax and have face painting and hopefully hopefully I can get Danielle there with Ariel doing her new stuff. And when we get coaches and some doctors and people there who can help the parents who have autistic children, help them with resources and connecting that network.
Wow.
It's excited.
Yeah, I'm excited for the music.
Don't organize all that stuff either. It can be exhausting taking on events like that.
Just a little. And to get the word out, in April 13th, I'm doing a second annual spring cleanup. So all I'm doing is putting a call out to the people of West Paris to stop by my place that morning. I believe 8 or 9. I haven't nailed down a time yet, but I'm going to hand out trash bags and we're going to walk the entire town and pick up the trash just to give a sense of pride and community to my community.
Love that. It's always
What's that?
Oh, I just paid my son to clean up the trash outside the other day. So it made me giggle. It's like so that time. I couldn't even stand seeing it. There was like a random like Burger King thing and like who knows from the snow, It's just sorry, it made me giggle and think of my son. Trinity.
I love how, Danielle, you are all about this too, is like that community, bringing the community, connecting the community, offering that space. This is the first I'm hearing about the autism support event that you're having. And although my son does not have autism, he has a diagnosis that requires special accommodations and support similar to what those with autism has. And so this is a new struggle new challenge that the universe has given me over these past couple of years. And so I will tell you that support is well needed for the parents. It is so needed for the parents. So I have this vision, this dream, and you sort of have kind of rippled this dream a little bit, JJ. We want to travel the world in like an RV or something when we're older. And when I say older, maybe like 10 years-ish is our goal. And so we're always thinking like, what are we going to do with our home? Because our home is beautiful. It's in the mountains of Maine and we've got like trails out back and snowshoe trails and a pond. And we're close to, all the activities that people pay a lot of money to come to this town. It's a vacation town, right? So I'm thinking like, how can I give back in that? And all of a sudden one day, it was like a month ago, I had this epiphany that I could sponsor family of children with special needs of some sort, whether it be autism or behavioral or whatever that is. I could sponsor the parents to come here and use my home in this sanctuary that I've created to relax, to get that support like that. Listen, even if it's one night, I'll tell you, like, people, we need this.
Yeah.
And right? Like, just moms need this. Just regular dads need this. And like, even more in with the kiddos who need that special attention. And so like you inspired that, JJ, was really like because we were talking about how your space is so amazing. Like you've got the hike out back, you've got the body of water and just like everything in nature. And there are so many people that live in a space where they can't enjoy that. And so to share our sanctuaries with the people that don't have that on a regular basis is just so inspiring and so impactful. And so I want to thank you for that, Ripple. And I am here to support you any way you need with that event, because holy moly, it is so needed. So please go follow, go check out Ripple Retreat and all of the amazing events. JJ is really great staying up to date on his website with all the events on there, ripple-retreat.com.
Thank you, Trinity. And if you want to support and can't come to the event, if you scroll down to the bottom of my webpage, there's Buy Me a Coffee link. Just go on there and buy me a coffee. It's really quick and easy thing to do and very inexpensive. And I'm taking that money and going directly back into Ripple and making Ripple Retreat a better place. And I didn't describe it at all earlier, and I missed that. It is a space. Once I get finished, the house and the barn, it has a barn that was built in 1830s. Beautiful big space, and it's on 11 acres. The house will be able to sleep 12. It's fully furnished. You'll be able to rent the entire space for yourself, for your event, whatever that event may be. And then I'm turning around and giving all the profit to 75% of it to the town and local charities. So it's a win-win-win for everybody. It's a win for me to be able to do that for my guests. It's a win for the guests to be able to enjoy that space, to plant seeds of positive, life-changing behavior. And then it's a win for the community. And the guests know that their money that they're paying for this event isn't going to my pocket to buy a new car. No, it's going to the community. How cool is that?
Epic. I mean, you are literally the definition of Ripple.
Yeah. I'm so
I
excited.
need a new car, and I'm not above wanting one.
I'm so excited for that music festival. I just marked it in my calendar. So it's going to be super, super excited. I'm looking forward to that.
Trinity, we should bring a birthday cake. Celebrate our birthdays.
It is. June is our birthday month. I celebrate birthday month. So June.
I see a week. So 22, I'm like, okay, she's 27, I'm 28. So I was like, how that would be appropriate. On the 22nd, we could start celebrating ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to crash your event. It is and Trinity birthday
party.
Yeah. Well, JJ, this has been super awesome. Like, you have most definitely made a ripple. I mean, even in this podcast, you rippled an amazing conversation that we got to talk about today, and hopefully our listeners took something from that, and that there's a ripple going on. So all our listeners, make sure you go and ripple from, take inspiration from what JJ has brought as a ripple to this podcast today. And so I want to thank you for joining us and being here on the podcast. My name is Graham. My company is Valued Productions. You can find me online at valuedproductions.com, VALUD Productions. Same thing, social media at Valued Productions. Make sure you follow the Unfiltered Path Podcast. Subscribe where you listen to podcasts, and join today with our awesome co-host.
Hey everyone, Trinity Baker. I am a mindset coach. I help people go from that survival mode, the overwhelmed, chaos, anxiety, depression, to thriving, living their best life. Because that's what we're all here for. We are all here to live our best lives, regardless of the chaos and challenges around us, right? So I am passionate about that. You can find me at my website, thetrinitybaker.com, or on all your favorite social media platforms, The Trinity Baker. And make sure to go subscribe, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, your favorite podcast platform. Subscribe, share, please, because that is a ripple. If you liked the episode and you get something from our episodes in our podcast, please share, because we need that ripple. We want to make a huge, amazing impact in this world with this podcast. So joined here with my co-host.
Hi, my name is Danielle. I'm the owner of Aerialist. I'm an aerialist. Something that stuck out to me today in our conversation was the idea that fun is attached to negative behaviors, and that we essentially retrained our mind to realize that there's fun in life. And that's what I offer. And I feel as though that's kind of at the top of the list. When you come fly around, whether you're good at it or not, you're still spinning and flocking in the air. Your inner child just like lights right up, and it becomes a highlight of your week. And then you take on so many other things. So you start finding the fun in life again. Whether you take on swimming or bowling, I see students always pick up an extra hobby and athletically. And so I offer fun. So again, you can find me at aerialjade.com or your major platforms, of course. And we are here with our guest, JJ.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me, Graham, Trinity, and Danielle. It's been an absolute pleasure. You can find me at ripple-retreat.com, or please listen to my podcast, What's Your Ripple, that I've just started and putting out there. And to everyone, please, I ask that you pause. Love yourself and be aware of your ripple. Thank you. With love and gratitude, JJ.
Awesome. Thank you. And we will see you next week on the Unfiltered Path Podcast. Have a wonderful day.
Yay.